Because without knowledge, you will be extinct like the dinosaur. I used to be a fellow of the British Computer Society a long time ago. That was the highest professional qualification an IT person would get. That was pre-internet. I don't even mention that because my knowledge now is totally obsolete. So I spent the last 6 months learning about social media, Twitter, Facebook. What do I need to do? You have to constantly reinvent your knowledge base. And you need this getting better mindset. Very important, otherwise you cannot be creative. Balance analytical, intuitive thinking. You have two ways of thinking. One is intuitive thinking, which is the part connected with creativity. Other one is the analytical thinking, which helps you to relate an idea to a particular advantage from a business perspective. And here's the key. You have to harness the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. Now, what is that? Nobody ever told you that, right? You go to school, you learn maths, you learn science, but nobody tells you you have a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. And nobody tells you how to use it. This is the key to creativity. The conscious mind is the one with which you are listening to me. This is very slow. It's very good for language. Now, never in any of my lectures did somebody die because they forgot to make the heart beat. Now, who makes your heart beat while you're listening to me? That's your subconscious mind. Who controls your blood pressure? Who controls your body temperature? Who digests the food that you ate? That is the subconscious mind. That is the supercomputer. That is 200 million times faster than the conscious mind. So the key to creativity is to use the subconscious mind, which is the supercomputer. And now when we say creativity, we think, oh, I'm not creative. There are some people who are creative, but I'm not creative. That is not true. And there's a wonderful inscription in ancient Greece in the temple of Delphi, which gives the key to this. It says, in you is hidden the treasure of treasures. Know yourself and you will know the universe and the gods. This is one of the most empowering statements I have ever read. And it doesn't matter whether you have O-level, A-level, degree, master's, doctorate, has nothing to do with it. You were born with this. So the key to creativity is discovering this treasure that is buried inside you. Ancient wisdom. Now, interestingly, modern science has validated it. This is William Fowler. In 1983, he won the Nobel Prize for an amazing discovery. He wrote a thesis called Synthesis of the Elements in the Stars. He proved that all the heavy molecules that make up our body are not from this world. He proved that they were forged in the stars. Scientifically proven with such rigor, it won him the Nobel Prize. So what does this mean? This means that you are made of stardust, literally. All the heavy molecules, calcium, carbon, zinc, iron, inside your body come from the stars. So what does that mean? You carry cosmic knowledge at a cellular level inside your body. This is the key to creativity. How do little birds fly across the Atlantic? They know when to go and which direction. And they don't have management meetings to decide. If they did, they'll never take off. Right? Because there'll be big discussion. This is the right time to go. No. This is the wrong direction. Because they can tap cosmic energy. They know when to take off and which direction to go. Interesting, right? So these are the fundamentals of creativity in the most fundamental way. Now, would you like to experience the power of your subconscious mind right now? Yes? Anybody? Yes? See, that's another problem. You have putting your hand up. Because that's how you survive school days, by never putting your hand up. Now, with that mindset, you can't be creative. Because you're in your comfort zone. I'm not going to put my hand up for anything because that's how I survived school days. So if you're willing to give yourself a try, here's an interesting experiment. I'm going to put 100 words and we have to read it in 20 seconds. Would you like to give it a try? Yes? All right. You got to do it loud. You got to do it extra fast. So to do that, relax your mind. I'll tell you why. Because for the subconscious mind to operate, the conscious mind has to be relaxed. Are you ready? Yes? Shall we read it loud? Yes? Okay, let's do it. Loud. I couldn't believe, you got to read it loud. Because if you don't read it loud, it doesn't work. Are you ready? All right. Okay, let's do it. 20 seconds. I couldn't believe that I could actually understand what I was reading. The phenomenal power of the human mind. According to a research at Cambridge University, it doesn't matter in what order the letters in a word are. The only important thing is that the first and the last letter be in the right place. The rest can be a total mess, and you can still read it without a problem. This is because the human mind does not read every letter by itself, but the word as a whole. Amazing, huh? I always thought spelling was important. 20 seconds. Now, read it slowly. Can you read it slowly? You can't, because the letters are totally jumbled. How did you read it earlier? The first letter and the last letter is correct. The letters are correct, but mixed up. The length of the word is correct. You know what your subconscious mind does? It doesn't bother reading all this stuff. It reads the first letter, the last letter, calculates the length of the word, goes through your vocabulary, picks up all the words, tuck, 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 and aligns and tell you what to say. That is the power of the subconscious mind. Incredible, right? You can't read it with the conscious mind. So you want to be creative, harness the subconscious mind. And to do that, you have to let the conscious mind kind of let go. And here's the key, brain waves. These are the brain waves of different stages of the human brain. Right at the top, you have the brain which is operating in beta. This is the normal wake-up state of adults. While you are listening, you are thinking, my God, I'm hungry, I wonder what time this finishes, I wonder what my kids are doing, I want to go. You see, your mind is filled with all this stuff. Not good for creativity. Children, on the other hand, are operating at the alpha state. Their mind is much more relaxed. That's why a child of 5 is a learning machine. A child of 5 can learn 3 languages without mixing it up. That's incredible. And you give them a smartphone when they are 2. They know how it works. And they don't know how to read. Because they are functioning at the alpha level. So the secret of creativity, it's not to put money behind creativity. It's to help people to go back to that alpha state of relaxed concentration. Then you have the other secret state, theta. If you can operate in the theta state, you can order anything from the universe and you get it. That is how I won the 2015 Asia Pacific Award for Outstanding Contribution to HR in my 70th year. Now you know how old I am. And I have never studied HR. I have never worked as a head of HR. So once I understood the importance of all what I'm sharing with you, you become incredibly creative. Why? Because your subconscious mind does all the hard work. Now what happened as we grew up and got educated? Something must have gone wrong, right? As a child, every one of us was incredibly creative. And now we have to come to a presentation on how innovative are managers. Here's another video clip by Sir Ken Robinson. Sir Ken Robinson is a visionary. He says there's something wrong with our education system, and this is how he explains it.
I define creativity as the process of having original ideas that have value. Divergent thinking isn't a synonym, but it's an essential capacity for creativity. It's the ability to see lots of possible answers to a question, lots of possible ways of interpreting a question, to think what Edward de Bono would probably call laterally, to think not just in linear or convergent ways, to see multiple answers, not one. So, I mean, there are tests for this. I mean, one kind of common example would be people might be asked to say, how many uses can you think of for a paperclip? Well, that's routine questions. Most people might come up with 10 or 15. People who are good at this might come up with 200. And they do that by saying, well, could the paperclip be 200 foot tall, be made out of foam rubber? You know, that doesn't have to be a paperclip as we know it, Jim. You know. Now, they tested this, and they gave them to 1,500 people in a book called Breadcrumbs and Beyond. And on the protocol of the test, if you scored above a certain level, you'd be considered to be a genius at divergent thinking. Okay? So, my question to you is, what percentage of the people tested, of the 1,500, scored at genius level for divergent thinking? Now, you need to know one more thing about them. These were kindergarten children. So what I'm saying, what percentage of genius level? 80. 80, okay? 98%. Now, the thing about this was it was a longitudinal study. So they retested the same children 5 years later, ages 8 to 10. What do you think? 50? They retested them again 5 years later, ages 13 to 15. You can see a trend here, can't you? Now, this tells an interesting story, because you could imagine it going the other way, couldn't you? You start off not being very good, but you get better as you get older. But this shows two things. One is we all have this capacity, and two, it mostly deteriorates. Now, a lot of things have happened to these kids as they've grown up, a lot. But one of the most important things that I'm convinced is that by now they've become educated.
Interesting, right? Kindergarten children score 98% genius. And as they grow older, this comes down because of education. So there's nothing wrong with the level of creativity we were born with. The problem is what happened afterwards in the education process. That's what we need to put right if you want the country to be creative. If you want organizations to be creative, we need to rediscover that 98% level genius that all of us had at birth. That's the good news. All right. So what happens is this, our capacity for divergent thinking gets diminished as we got educated. Without divergent thinking, you can't have creativity. Without creativity, you can't have innovation. So talking about innovation is like science fiction without talking about divergent thinking. That is what innovation and creativity are founded on. So now we come to an interesting thing, whole brain integration. You have two halves of the brain. And I'm sure nobody ever told you this, because at school you don't learn any of this stuff. The left half of the brain is the logical half, the right half of the brain is the creative half. When you balance the two, that's what you did as a child. That is why a child of 5 is a learning machine. They have beautifully balanced left half and right half of the brain. The left half of the brain is the one with which you are listening to me. Language skills, logic, science, this is in the left half. But that's not the creative half. The creative half is the right half. Art, music, innovation, imagination, that's in the right half. Now here's the key. When you balance the left and the right half, your brain power goes up by 5 to 10 times. Now what happened to that 98 level genius we were born with? So later on in life, you love music. Now you want to go for music classes. And what do your parents tell you? Have you ever seen a musician driving a BMW? Forget music classes, go for tuition classes. Now they don't know abroad, musicians earn much more money than managers because they don't have that in their experience. So music is bad. Dancing, don't waste your time doing dancing, go for tuition classes. This is what happened. This is the problem of creativity. That 98% level that we were born with, we have not lost it, it's sleeping inside us. And this is the key to creativity and innovation. So here's the key. Creativity is more right brain, divergent abstract thinking. Innovation is left brain. This is convergent concrete thinking. Unless you balance the two, it doesn't work. So this is the key to creativity and innovation. So in practical terms, what does this mean? If you like music and you don't have time for music now, spend time and do music, do dancing, write poetry, paint. That will give you right brain, left brain balance, and that is what will make you very creative. That has always been the secret of my success. I never sacrificed right brain activities while I was studying for my doctorate and things like that. So this is the key, nothing else. So you want to rediscover this whole brain integration? This is the key. Start doing the things that are fun. See, we are very serious. Serious people are not creative. Why? Because you are in a state of what? Inert uniformity. Get out of that. So, how do you build innovative organization? Now we come to the real essence of what we are talking about. This is one of the ideas for which I won this award. Success has two dimensions. One is wisdom, knowing what to do next, and skills is being able to do it. Now in simple terms, think of a cricketer. A bowler gets the ball. And he has to decide whether to bowl in swinger, out swinger, off break, leg break or what, or around the wicket or over the wicket. If instead he bowls all over the wicket, it's not going to work, right? He had the wisdom to decide what to bowl, but didn't have the skill to do it. This is true in sports, in anything you do. As the world is changing faster and faster, wisdom is increasingly important. And that's not easy. No amount of mathematical modeling will tell you what's going to happen to the economy next week, next month. This is where you tap into the subconscious mind and get innovative ideas. So if people who have very good wisdom and very good skill, those are the champions. There are not many in the world. Now, there are some people who have the wisdom but little bit low on skills. These are innovators. They are not good in following the rules, but they are very good in knowing what to do next. Then you have the other people here, very good in skills, but not too good in working out what to do. So to summarize it, you have adapters, they consolidate the present. They have strong skills, but not much wisdom. They produce incremental change. Then you have innovators who create the future. These are the guys who are not good in these following the rules. They do transformational change. Which group is more important? They are both equally important. While you are creating the future, you need to make sure that your organization survives. So they both have a very important role to play. So you have to ask yourself, am I an adapter? Am I an innovator? And that's fine. But if you're really ambitious, you will want to be good in both. So what nurtures creativity? Be willing to accept possible failure. Because creativity means you're out of your comfort zone, you're taking risks, and the whole thing might not work. So you need a getting better mindset, not a be good mindset. And that's difficult for us. Because we are so used to being praised for success, you don't want to risk that self-image you have by trying out something new, which might lead to failure. Use relaxed concentration. This is very important. You can't be tense and be creative. You got to have fun. Multitasking. Our brains are not designed for multitasking. So if you want to be creative, focus on one thing. Because if you focus on two different things, you can't be creative in either, because you're operating in the beta state. What else? Mix serious work with creative activities. We have a serious problem doing that. We are serious managers, right? So if I tell you to get up and dance, you would say, no, I'm not going to do that. That's what blocks creativity. Take Google. In 19 years, Google became the #1 brand in the world. They do all these crazy things. That's why in 19 years, they became the #1 brand in the world. Because they understand how this thing works. And another thing, your brain cannot work for more than 1 hour. After 1 hour, your brain needs a break. So after 1 hour, you need to get up, do some things. Sitting at the desk and doing Facebook does not count. You have to get up from the desk, move around and do things. And now you are creative again. You need to let these ideas incubate. If you are thinking about it all the time, it doesn't work. So how I create new ideas, I do my homework, I read up all the literature, then I just forget it. I go to the movies, I go to a concert. The next day, your subconscious mind has worked on it and gives you these ideas. That's the way creativity works. You can't force it out of your mind. You have to let it happen. And other thing, brainstorming does not work because you cannot think in a group. Thinking has to happen individually. Then you can share your ideas in a group. So this whole idea of brainstorming does not work because it doesn't produce results. Harness emotion. Emotion is the driver. Positive and negative are both good. So if you are emotional about something, you have the fuel to look for something new. And here's the beautiful thing. There's a thing called thin slicing. In my workshops, I give people 1 hour to reinvent their company. And they come up with the most amazing ideas. If I give them 1 day, they wouldn't even get started. Because now they make it into something big. Thin slicing is the amazing power our brain has to process complex information and come up with new ideas in a very short time. If you are interested, read Malcolm Gladwell's Blink. By the way, Malcolm Gladwell's books are very important for managers. His books like Blink, his books like Outliers, very interesting because he looks at it from a totally different point of view. So thin slicing is the key to creativity. If you give people a lot of time to create something, they get totally messed up with it. So the toolbox, I produced the toolbox and I wrote a book called The Flying Penguin, which was published in Singapore, where I put this whole thing together. Now why did I call it Flying Penguin? Because I didn't want to write a book with a boring title like How to Succeed in Life. And my subconscious mind told me, hey, here's a great idea. Penguins, under life-threatening circumstances, shoot out of the water 5 or 6 feet to land on the ice. We do the same thing under life-threatening circumstances. But we can do this all the time once you unleash the power of the subconscious mind. So, what nurtures innovation? Create an innovative corporate culture. The worst thing you should do is to appoint a chief innovation officer. That kills innovation completely. Because innovation is something we all have to contribute to. Right? So if you have a chief innovation officer, demote that person immediately. Because the moment you do that, everybody says, oh, it's not my job, it's his job or her job. So these are some of the fundamental flaws that we make. Find a right problem. Very often you are solving the wrong problem. This is very typical of organization. They are solving the wrong problem. And use necessity as the mother of innovation. So if you feel that your market share is dropping, that's great. If you win every game, your game will never improve. So losing a major customer is fantastic. Now you've been kicked out of your comfort zone. That's when you become creative. Imagine the desired outcome. So you want to, I did this for Domino's Pizza. I just trained the entire workforce of Domino's Pizza. I just told them, explained to them how to unleash the genius that was sleeping inside them. And they are going to double their revenue, monthly revenue from June. I didn't tell them how to do it. They worked out how to do it. This is what creativity is about. You energize and empower them, and then they come to that remember that 98% genius level? That's where creativity is. All you need to do is to remove the roadblocks. Don't depend on data. When Sir Richard Branson started Virgin Atlantic, Britain's leading marketing magazine said only 10% of Brits would ever fly an airline called Virgin. Completely wrong. Now, Virgin Atlantic is the preferred airline between the UK and the US. So you can't use research to be creative. It'll give you completely the wrong information. Constant acquisition of relevant knowledge. This is important. You have to start reading, not management books. Start reading things like Michael Gladwell. Read things like Dune. Read like Lord of the Rings. Watch programs like Ben 10. This is very serious management stuff. Because it helps you to get into that relaxed state of mind. I love this and I do it all the time. I love cartoons. Use only what you have. This is frugal innovation. Don't give them money. The worst thing you can do is to find a group of people and give them the R&D budget. Don't do that. Give them nothing. Then they'll come up with, just like the carrot clarinet, they'll come up with amazing ideas to create new things using the limited resources they have. That's what frugal innovation is all about. And change the game, disruptive innovation. You are lucky if you can find one. This is much more difficult. Like for example, when the smartphones we use, now they don't have a keyboard, right? That's disruptive innovation. So companies that were making phones with keyboards are now almost out of business, except for people like me, because I hate smartphones. I like phones that are stupid. They do what I tell them to do. Now, say you have a great idea. How do you decide? This is a brilliant idea, it's very innovative. I'll give you a 5-dimensional framework. 1, does it increase the competitive advantage for your company? Does it add to your USP, the unique selling proposition, in any organization? Is it aligned with the direction in which your business is going, current and future? Is there value, stakeholder value, greater profit, greater benefits for the public in the long term? Customer value. Are you delivering something that your customers want but they are not getting? And execution. Can it be done? Using the resources you have. It's a very simple 5-dimensional framework to see whether an idea will produce innovation. If you don't follow this, you can spend a lot of time doing the wrong thing. So now we come back to the fundamental question, how innovative are our managers? This is what we started with. And here's my answer. How creative are our managers? They were born with limitless power. As children, they scored 98% in divergent thinking. What limits them are the self-imposed limits, basically based on childhood experiences. What happened when you were young? Get rid of the limitations and you have limitless creativity. This is what I worked out after my 60th year. I wish somebody told this to me before. That's how in my 70th year I won this award, Asia Pacific Award. Because I suddenly realized it doesn't matter. I have not studied HR. I have these ideas. So I developed ideas and that's how I won the award. So remember, you're not limited by your education, experience, your social background has nothing to do with it. Because you scored 98% as a kindergarten child in divergent thinking. Finding creative people. You talk to any head of HR, oh my God, I can't find creative people. Are we looking in the right place? You're standing on a bunch of ladders and you're trying to look over the wall to see what's on the other side. All the employees you have all scored 98% in divergent thinking. All you need to do is to unleash that. So I did a pilot project at Taj Samudra. In November 2013, when Taj Samudra reopened after a major refurbishment program, the hotel looked fantastic. But the employees were totally demotivated. Why? They had to do the refurbishment in 6 months while the guests were still there. So I knew Rohit Khosla, who was the country manager, and I had a chat with him. I said, listen Rohit, give your team to me. I'll transform them. And he agreed. So what did I do? I trained 600 employees at all levels, identical training. As a result of that, they measured the guest satisfaction using what they call GSTS, went up by 40% in 5 months. Unheard of in the worldwide Taj group. Nobody has ever done that. What did I do? I had in the same training program all these people. Now, they didn't achieve this by giving champagne and caviar with the standard lunch. That's not frugal innovation. The same product, every person in this organization contribute to this innovation. So that is real innovation. It's a state of mind. It's a way of looking at your business. Energizing and empowering everybody in your organization to contribute to business success. That is the real root of innovation. Not saying, Friday 3 o'clock we are going to be innovative. So put on your innovation cap and come. It doesn't work like that. It has to be an ongoing thing. You have to create the mindset. Help these people. Ask them to have fun. If anybody is working after 5 o'clock in your office, get them out of the office and say, go to a movie. Have some fun. Because that's how they unleash their creativity. So, in closing, there's a wonderful quotation. The teacher who is wise does not bid you to enter the house of his wisdom, but rather leads you to the threshold of your mind. That's what I have done. I haven't taught you how to be creative. Nobody can ever teach you that. In my coaching and in my workshops, all I do is remove the mental blocks to help people find that 98% genius that they were born with. I wish you all the best. Thank you.